started making a show, COVID had come along and we had to stop. Originally, I was making a show about identity, but then COVID came along. There was a long period of being alone and where we can't see each other. And that really focused me on how I could change the direction of the show and really reflect what was happening. The new work, the new direction, the new energy all came together in the studio in a very short time after we came back. Yes, this is what the show needs to be about, this energy from each other and this support from each other and the courage and the joy that one can get from each other.
I could really feel for myself and my colleagues that we were just so hungry to dance again.
Is that right?
We missed doing what we loved. We missed everything about our work, like us as a person. I felt like I was like lost in that time.
When we came back together, everybody not only had a new lease of life, but really poured everything into the show. And as a result, I think you'll find the bearing of people's souls in the performance.
It was just incredible because we were just creating lots of new things in the experiment and in that joy to dance again.
We all had something we wanted to say subconsciously. I don't think we all came back going like, we're going to do this. But as we got back together and we realised that, you know, physical touch had been missing for a lot of us for a long time, and we're a contact-based company. So that was exciting, and that actually fed into the work. The second half of the show, I think, it's quite emotional in that it's about a group of people like really pushing each other on, but through physical touch and through that physicality of like dragging people up or pushing them through the space. I think we all didn't appreciate how much a hug meant, or shaking someone's hand, or the meet and greet that you have socially. And to have that gone for that period of time was really special to come back in the studio and go like, no, this is really important and we should say something about it.
So the show completely pivoted 180. This led to me really understanding what this show should be. You see them out there, you're one of the crows, you're one of the evil doubts. So the storyline is the journey of the characters through this struggle. I've separated it into each performer plays two characters where they play a crow and they play themselves as the character in the world. And the crow symbolises the voice in your head, but the crow also symbolises sometimes the voices in the outside world, what we see in the press or on the internet or what we hear. The characters are trying to differentiate between themselves and the crow part of themselves and the outside world part of the crow, and how it's all playing on their minds. The whole first half became for me this sense of people struggling with their inner voice, of recognizing it, of hearing it, of balancing what it is, all of that, struggling with yourself to find yourself.
I'm quite isolated as a character. It's quite heavy hitting, especially the first half is really like about like the human emotions. So I do feel like the sort of isolation from the group, and like, yeah, all the way through I'm kind of like battling. I've got like my demons, so it's quite dark.
The first half follows that journey of the inside and the outside and dealing with the voices and dealing with each other, and at the end we see one character succumbing to being trapped in the house with the voice of the crows. And then the second half was, you know, the great lesson that we all understand now, people being released to hug each other again and loved ones and being with that, and that sense of being together and how important that is, how to survive these kind of things and how to be richly engaged in this world is to be able to be connected with others. And that's what the second half reflects. So it's a kind of a dark side and a more positive vision of where we are and what we can be as people coming out of that. And all of that really came clear through this battle with COVID.
We've collaborated with Sophie Donaldson to work on the costumes. She started to get some ideas from watching us, from speaking to Kev, to Junior about what we do and how we perform.
It was really important to delineate these two mental worlds. So the crows had to be really clearly different from our everyday selves, the other characters that we were finding in the world. I've always gone for a very simple, usually everyday kind of look for costumes, and this time it's different, and that has brought out very different opportunities in the material as well. The crows became this incredible identity. Then it was important that they have their own choreographic language. So all the way through the shows, when they're the crows, they have a particular language that they're always working with, which is very different to when they're their everyday selves, which again opened up a massive thing for me, because I had two very different languages in the first half to play with, and then I have to reconcile those two different languages in the second half into one. So that became a really interesting journey for me to play with, and the costume really brings that to life, and it makes the show very theatrical and enhances the spectacle of it. For this show, it's got an interval. I've never had an interval because I've always believed that you start a show and then you drive this momentum through it, and you pick somebody up and you're just taking them on a ride all the time. Well, this presents me a great opportunity. I can do something I couldn't possibly do otherwise. In the first half, I really used the theatrical spectacle to bring about this engagement with the darkness of ourselves and our humanity. And in the second half, I thought, well, I just want to use the body. The second half begins with film, but then and theatricality, but then just to reprise where we are in the darkness and our journey of escaping. The purer I can do that, the more powerful the message would be. So I focused on that, which is quite unusual for me. And therefore it's exciting because it's a new form, it's got an interval. I'm really using the material in a different way, and we're really expanding the type of material physically that we can do, and so that was exciting. We've got a series of three-dimensional objects that we move in the space, and they're digitally mapped and they're tracked in motion. But we chose to do it old school style in that all the tracking and motion is pre-done, so the dancers have to move the objects on counts to make sure that the tracking is in the right place on the projection on the object. And this began to open up a whole new world for us because we were no longer here at the front relating to the screen at the back. Now the screen was in amongst us and moving around us, and that created tremendous new opportunities. And what was great for me and for our creative team is, again, this show won't look like any of the previous ones, which is the key, because you want to continue to innovate. And it's in fact opened up a whole new area for us in digital interaction and keeping track and seeing what we can do and opening up ideas for what may go on in the future. But we're quite excited by what we've achieved with this one, because it's a different feel and a different presence, and it resonates quite profoundly for me with the content, in terms of being able to make these spaces and feel their confines and see them as three-dimensional in the space rather than two-dimensional representations on the screen. So yeah, that's been very interesting exploration for us. The dance circus language for us has been evolving at a steady pace. It's been doing this for a long while, and then it's just gone bang with this one. We've always wanted to reach as wide an audience as possible, and the use of spectacle in the work means that we're able to fuse some of the abstraction of contemporary dance with the spectacle of the movement language that we're absorbing from circus and with the digital world, etc. And all of this means that you can make something that's richly visually engaging.
It is my favourite show because it marries circus and dance really, really well. Motionhouse is ultimately coming up with their own language, their own movement language that is circus and dance combined, and I think this show is really successful in doing that.
The level of the hand-to-hand, the tosses, the bankines, the circus elements has massively jumped up from previous shows. What was really nice is an ex-member of the company saw the trailer, and even somebody who has been here and experienced what we do was completely blown away by what they were seeing. We want to take people on a journey emotionally as well as being wowed by the physical. It has excitement, it has drama, it has thrills, it has heartbreak in it.
Well, I hope the proof will be in the pudding for people who come and see it, in that the language should be hopefully moving and challenging, but also thrilling and lift you out of your seat with excitement and enjoyment. That's kind of trying to bring all those elements together into a show is what we're striving for.
My favourite bit is definitely the last section. It's just kind of, once you start, you don't stop. It's just a whirlwind, like getting taken in, and it's like really like kind of physical, exciting to do, and like you can't focus on what's just happened because it's just go, 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 and it's, yeah, really fun.
The 3 high drop that just makes me like adrenaline like go over the top. All the wave after wave, that defines what I've always wanted to do as a performer. And it's a mixture of beautiful dancing, but also loads of lifts, loads of partner work, contact work.
I hope the audiences feel what we're trying to portray, rather than like Motionhouse has the grandeur of like tricks and full physical dance, which audience connect with. But for me, it has to be an emotional journey too. Like whatever that is for the audience, that's the most important thing for me. Like, I know that the physicality and the tricks, everyone always loves it. But if they can have that and feel something of some sort at some point, then ultimately I think that's our goal, and ultimately that makes the show a success.
It's hard to express this in a way that doesn't sound really corny, but it means a new life to me, because everything was taken away. To come back and make it, to engage with the struggles and make those struggles into something new, is the fundamental premise of being an artist, really. And so I feel like that rationale and that drive, and I'm sure the dancers feel like this as well, has been validated. This is why we're here, and this is what we do, and this is a kind of joy to break through it, and it's rejuvenating. Gives you more hope for life going on.